Everybody talks about the Hess truck around this season, but what about the Shell truck? And Hess got stupid. It's like the submarine, the helicopter. Like, come on, this is getting ridiculous. I just want the truck. Limited edition. Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, the Yankees get the big present under the Christmas tree, finalize the deal with Juan Soto, which we kind of knew was going to happen, but of course finalizing the Yankees gave a little bit more than we thought, but nevertheless, Juan Soto will be a New York Yankee for 2024, so holiday cheer for that. And the Yankees also get themselves a stocking stuffer in Alex Verdugo, a kind of a trade or a player I said would come to the Yankees, would be a good fit. I'm not going to take any credit for that, but nevertheless, and of course we'll look into the mega contract with Shohei Ohtani. I know it's not Yankee related, but it kind of affects the Yankees in their pursuit of Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I'll get into all that. So before we get started, it's the holiday season. You want to get yourself a gift. You want to treat yourself. I know you're spending money on other people, but sometimes you got to spoil yourself, and you do that by subscribing to the podcast. So wherever you get your favorite podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, there's an audio version of the show. Quicker takes, get updated news more than you see here on YouTube or on TV like that. So treat yourself. It's absolutely free. I should charge like $1 million, but it's free. So wherever you get your favorite podcast, type in Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast, subscribe there. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube or TV, go over to YouTube as well. Catch the show there. And there's some cross content, there's stuff that you can't get here and here, you can't get there. So you want to get it all, cover all the bases, make this a grand holiday season. Subscribe there on YouTube as well. So it's official and finalized. Juan Soto will be a New York Yankee. Now, if you remember the previous episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or on television, we figured this deal was going to go down, but really the holdup was, were the Yankees going to let go of Michael King and or pitching prospect Drew Thorpe there. And I was kind of saying, look, if you have to give away two of them, I wouldn't love the idea, but I'm okay with it. But if you had to pick, just one of them to give away, I'll say part ways with Michael King, and that would just be the better move. But it turns out the Yankees had to give up both, and again, it was in a package which we knew was going to include some other players. So the official package here is for Juan Soto. They had to give up both Michael King and Drew Thorpe, and plus a bundle there, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, again, players who I mentioned and probably would be included in that deal. And, of course, Kyle Higashioka, Higgy, unfortunately, parting ways with him. So, 5-player deal there. Now, the Yankees also get something back as well. Beyond Soto is Trent Grisham, and I'll kind of give you his little tail of the tape after that. But if you want to look at the package there, you didn't like the fact that you had to give up both King and Thorpe. But, again, you have Soto in your sights, and you cringe a little bit. You don't love the idea, but I still think it's a good deal for the Yankees because you're getting, of course, Juan Soto in this lineup. Now, we all know the whole deal. It's just going to be a 1-year rental. He's entering an arbitration deal, so the Yankees are probably going to pay him anywhere from like $28 to $32 million in that range. And then, of course, after the season, he's going to go into free agency. He's a Scott Boras guy, and especially after the Shohei Ohtani contract there, it's going to be a lot of money going around. And Soto probably not going to get as much money as Ohtani there, but he's probably going to get well north of $400 million there. So he's definitely going to go into free agency. Nor do I think the Yankees are going to offer him some sort of contract beforehand there. So this is all for a 1-year rental. But for what you have to give up to the guy, I still think it's a good deal for the Yankees, and let's just go through them. We know what Michael King is. Good setup man. They're trying to convert to a starter there, but we don't know how far he's going to go there. And look, he's not Andy Pettit. If you want to look him at a starter, if you want to look him at as a reliever, he's not Mariano Rivera. Again, you could afford to lose him and either get some free agency or maybe someone else from the Yankee, in the farm system or right up in the majors, kind of gravitates into that sort of setup role there. Again, you have some players coming back, such as Scott Efros, who missed the 2023 season with Tommy John surgery. And we've also got Jonathan Loaiza, who I know is up and down being hurt. But again, we've seen him as a late inning setup guy and be successful in that. So again, Michael King, you don't want to lose him, but he's not irreplaceable. You could part ways with him. And of course, Drew Thorpe, the pitching prospect there. Again, a lot of good numbers, impressive there. But again, we don't know. He's a prospect. I mean, he could turn out to be something great, or he could just turn out to be like an A.J. Burnett. And, maybe have a good season, and then he burns out. Or it could be what the Yankees have with Ivan Nova. Have a good season where you win 18 games, and then a couple of years later, you're not even in baseball anymore. That's why they call him pitching prospects. So, again, you cringe a little bit, but you don't like the fact you have to give away to it. But, again, you still do it to get the deal done. And the other pieces, well, Kyle Higashioka, we know his days with numbers, especially when they brought up Austin Wells towards the end of last season. And, of course, we know we got Jose Trevino coming back from his wrist surgery, and we've already seen Trevino. We know, he's been a former All-Star for the Yankees, so he's definitely going to get the starting spot next year. And of course, you've got a bunch of backup catchers. Wells is your young guy. He's been in the system for a while. He's the guy you kind of been grooming, and they brought him up, so he's going to be the backup catcher. And now you just have too many catchers. You have Ben Rovette as well as Higgy, and you knew of all of them, Higgy only had 1 year left on his deal. He was going to get shipped out and packaged somewhere, and you'd probably see something similar with Ben Rovette somewhere down the road there. The Yankees are definitely going with Trevino and Wells behind the plate there, so Higgy became expendable. Johnny Brito, we saw him. I liked him early on, impressive, but he was up and down as a starter. Late in the year, kind of groomed himself into be a long reliever there, and maybe found himself a little bit niche, but he's not a guy that you really cringe or worry about parting ways with. And Randy Vasquez, again, kind of bummed out a little bit because, his starts were all pretty good. In fact, he had one really good start against the Padres in a game that he probably should have won, but the Yankees scored no offense from him. And ironically enough, Juan Soto hit a home run off him in Yankee Stadium there that game. But again, Randy Vasquez is not someone you look at and it's like, oh, this could be the next Pedro Martinez. We can't let this guy go. Could he become something like that? Probably not. So if you look at all those guys, and the fact you get Soto without giving up Volpe or Jason Dominguez, which you want to consider anyway, again, I think it's a good deal for the Yankees. And, if Thorpe turns out to be something 5 years down the road, maybe kick yourself in the pants a little bit. But I think it's good for the Yankees to go all in for 2024, just the way 2023 was just so miserable. They just finished 2 games above 500 there. So it's just, you got to respond back in a big way. And I think Hal and Cashman, definitely a good step. And now you're hearing people that love Cashman again after they want to throw the guy out, back in September there. And now if you look at Soto himself, it gives the Yankees what they need, a left-handed bat, which they've been dying for. Now, also included in this deal is Trent Grisham. Now, you may not be familiar with him. Now, he's more known for his glove than his bat. He's a center fielder, 2-time Gold Glover there. And, the Yankees kind of need a center fielder there just because, I know they're going to give a lot of the playing time to Judge. But this guy, obviously, he's competent out there. Not much with the bat. He's like a 200 hitter, if that at all. But, again, a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. He's won the Gold Glove twice. So he's probably a guy who's going to be off the bench there. But he's also a left-handed bat. And if you look at the Yankees have done overall, I've been screaming about this for the past couple of seasons. The Yankees have been way too right-handed here. Now you look at the left-handed bats there. Of course, you got Soto. You bring this guy Grisham, Verdugo, who we're going to talk about shortly after that. You already have Rizzo. You have Austin Wells, the backup catcher, and of course Oswaldo Cabrera, a switch hitter. So now the Yankees have 5 or 6 left-handed bats there. Again, whether you want to mix it up in the lineup or some guys you can bring off the bench late in the game. And of course Rizzo as well. Again, now the Yankees are more balanced out between right and left-handed bats. And this is, again, the Yankees have been too right-handed for a while here. And if you look at Soto here, he's going to be a free agent in 2025. He has every motivation in the world to put up some big numbers and have a great year. And for last year, he played all 162 games. So it's not a guy that gets hurt too often here. So he seems pretty durable. He's only 25 years old there. And again, he wants that big contract, especially after Ohtani got $700 million. So I'm sure he's going to have every motivation in the world to put up some big numbers. And he's look at some past players entering free agency. Look at Aaron Judge in 2022. He's about to get a big payday and just magically hit 62 home runs. It just seems like this happens to these guys when they're about to get a big payday. They really just go off with their numbers. And you want to look back to someone like Carlos Beltran when he got traded to the 2004 Houston Astros. He just went absolutely off, and then he got a mega contract by the New York Mets there. So again, I think just to have Soto motivated to put up big numbers, play a lot, if it just for 1 year, I think it's totally worth it for the Yankees. So A+ move on them. It seemed like this was the move that was going to be made there. It was kind of, again, it was going to be probably about King, not King, Drew Thorpe, not Drew Thorpe. Now, unfortunately for King, he was actually taking in a show with the Rockettes, Radio Music City Hall there, and he actually got 3 calls. Got 1 call from Cashman, got a call from Boone, and got a call from the Padres team representative there, just kind of telling us all that happened there. So kind of a weird moment from him. And again, he's a native New Yorker, and again, he liked it here. The fans liked him here, but to give something, you have to give something. So he's included, in that deal there. So again, bon voyage to him. And it doesn't really hurt you if he does well in a Padres uniform. He's in the National League. It's out in the West. It's not like a team the Yankees are going to bump into a little bit. So you kind of, if it's something like, let's say you trade him Toronto, and now you face him a bunch of times a year, you kind of feel weird about it. But he's not something that could really hurt the Yankees. And if he does well, he's doing well out west for another team in another division in the league. It doesn't really bum you out as much there. But for the Yankees, again, it was the right move. And again, I'm glad that they've done this. And again, this is definitely a response. Definitely the first step there for the Yankees, kind of the right to ship there. And again, it doesn't do any better than that than bringing Juan Soto. Now, hours after taping, the last episode, and just shortly before the Juan Soto trade, the Yankees made a kind of a big move, because not as big as Juan Soto, but bringing in Alex Verdugo, a trade with the Boston Red Sox. Now, you remember a couple of weeks ago, actually, there was rumors out there that the Yankees were looking to trade Gleyber Torres up to Boston to get Verdugo here. So, and I was all for that. I like that deal. I just think it made both sense. I wanted to bring Verdugo here just to put he just build edge to him, bring a little toughness. I think what this Yankee clubhouse needs and the lineup needs. Sometimes is kind of walking around like zombies a little bit. But nevertheless, the deal gets done now. The good news is that the Yankees didn't have to trade Gleyber Torres to get him, so that's even better. Turned out to be Greg Weissart and two other pitching prospects there. So Greg Weissart, you remember he was the AAA closer. The Yankees brought him up here. Again, local guy, went to Fordham, my alma mater as well. So you kind of want to see him thrive and do well here. But to just give him up in two pitching prospects, which we don't know about, again, the prospects, to get Verdugo, I think a good positive move for the Yankees. Now, just want to take a step back if you want to look at Brian Cashman and bringing in Verdugo and Juan Soto here with mainly pitching prospects. Some people want to complain, Cashman's can't develop his own players and the farm system's terrible and all this stuff. Well, look at the talent he's brought in just by unloading these pitching prospects. Now, we don't know anything about them, how are they going to flourish or where they're going to go, but it seems like other GMs are interested in these players he has there. So you have to give some kudos to Cashman that having the stockpile of pitches where now you can unload them and bring in some big names here. But nevertheless, get back to the Verdugo. Again, it's a deal I would have been willing to give Gleyber Torres up for him, but the fact that he didn't, you have to keep it. Now we still have Gleyber Torres, whether you want to go with it for 2024 or if you want to use him in some sort of package deal. He's very tradable right now. Again, he's arbitration eligible, so you might have to pay $10 million for him, but for the stats he could put up as a second baseman, a lot of teams may be interested in him. So again, if the Yankees are still working on some moves for the offseason, now you still have Gleyber Torres in your back pocket as a chip, but that's good. Nevertheless, bringing in Verdugo here, and obviously it was more, obviously you would probably appreciate the trade more before the Soto deal, just for the fact he gave the Yankees what they needed. A left fielder and a left-handed at bat here. Well, so now the Yankee outfield is definitely set. Verdugo, again, a great defender there. Will be a de facto, pretty much everyday starting left fielder there. Judge looking back in center field, and again, Soto, technically he's a left fielder. His defense is not that great, but it's okay him playing right field in Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium, get a smaller right field, pretty much easier there for him to handle. And now, the Yankees have Verdugo, and very similar to Juan Soto, he's going to be entering a free agency year in 2025. So, of course, he has every motivation to have the best season ever, so he can get a nice big fat contract there. So you're getting some of these guys when they're really motivated to put up some big numbers there. And if you want to do it in a Yankee uniform, even if it's 1 year, I think it's a totally win for the Yankees. Good move. And if you just got to part with Greg Weissart and a couple of pitcher prospects to do it, good move for the Yankees. Greg Weissart, he was up here a little bit. Again, are you blown away by anything? No. Impressive. He could be something. But, again, you're not losing like, Dennis Eckersley. You're not losing Billy Wagner there. So if you have to give him up to get someone like a Verdugo, an everyday player, you make that deal there. Now at the time, I didn't know there was a little bit a little dirt under the fingernails of Verdugo. Supposedly he has some hustle problems, and there was an incident last season where he showed up late to a game there. So might be a little bit attitude problem like that there, but I'm not really too concerned about that. First of all, I just want to look at the Yankee perspective. We've seen times even with someone like Gleyber Torres has not been hustling. I remember that time 2 years ago where he didn't hustle out to first base, and actually Judge had to confront him in the dugout there. So again, would you say Gleyber Torres is a lazy player? No, but maybe he's had a bad day or just didn't run something out, or maybe he was hurt a little bit and he didn't want to push himself. So the whole idea of not hustling, laziness, I don't know about that. And of course, being late to the game, you don't want to do that. But overall, I think it's different with Verdugo there, because if you're with the Red Sox organization for so many years, you're in the minors and you're up in the majors for a couple of years, and you're not a superstar, but you're kind of an everyday player there. All right, maybe you could get a little lackadaisical a little bit. But when you come to a new organization there, you kind of want to. It's still different. Like you want to be tip-top shape. You want to make a good impression there. I don't see that as an issue. Like he's going to start just being lazy with the Yankees and show up to games and stuff, because it's just you don't do that when you go to a new situation. You want to impress everybody, and you want to be buttoned up there. So I don't think that's it. I wouldn't worry about any of that baggage. And of course, it's you get him pretty much a 1 year rental. So if he turns out to be a problem there, well, you can say goodbye after 2024 there. You're not stuck with the guy for the next 5 years though. But again, I like the deal for the Yankees. He's kind of a gritty player, a grinder. Comes from that pedigree up there in Boston, someone like a Dustin Pedroia, who's just annoying. You can't get out. He'll foul off like 12 pitches there. Even if he makes out, he makes the pitcher uncork like 12, 15 pitches there. So, you get a victory even and out. But I like Verdugo. Again, he's a bit of a grinder there. Gives the Yankees, again, a little toughness there, which I think this Yankee lineup overall has been lacking a little bit. This kind of, just too happy cheering, things going well, but other than that, just kind of walking around like zombies there. So I like that. Only problem with him now, he had that incident, remember, it was about a year ago, someone in the left field there, threw a ball at his back there and hit him in the back there. So he's going to have to make amends with the left field crowd there at Yankee Stadium, which I don't think will be no problem. And of course, Now he has the red beard and stuff like that, so he's gonna have to get shaved. It's gonna get cleaned up a little bit. But that's okay, you know. I think he could be a bit of a character guy for the Yankees. You remember Clint Frazier had the red hair as well, and kind of it was kind of a bit of a thing. So I think a big character guy, and I think it just adds the left-handed bat what the Yankees need there. And again, this move didn't get much fanfare because everything's been about Juan Soto there, but a good move for the Yankees. I like it positive. Again, so Brian Cashman again so far having a great offseason. And the Yankees also bring back a couple of familiar faces on minor league deals, and that will be Billy McKinney and Anthony Maiswitz, the left-handed reliever there. Now, you may recall, just when the season ended, the Yankees put a bunch of those players, including McKinney and Maiswitz, on waivers there. No one claimed them. Then he was going to give them a minor league job there. They refused the job. They went to free agency. But it looks like Cashman wanted to bring McKinney and Maiswitz back there. So they'll be there in spring training. And if you remember, McKinney, serviceable for the Yankees, an outfield there, left-handed bat. Again, the Yankees building up these left-handed bats. He's a guy you maybe consider for a bench player. Now, it looks like the Yankees bench is going to get filled up pretty quickly there. So I don't know if there'll be actually room for this guy. I mean, you have, of course, Trent Grisham, as I mentioned there. You have people like Oswaldo Cabrera there on the bench who could also play outfield. And, of course, we have Florial left over from last season there. So I don't know if McKinney gets a job or not. Maybe he plays in spring, he's in spring training. Maybe goes with the minor league team. At some point, someone gets hurt, he's something to bring up. And Maiswitz, of course, a left-handed reliever there. Again, he's this guy competing for a spot. So, you don't put much stock in it. I just think it's this Cashman just building up the roster there and building up, some players to compete for spring training. They might be in the majors. They might not be. I don't know about that. The Yankees also bringing in from the Mets, Dennis Santana. Pitched for a brief couple of games for the Mets, so 9 total games, so not really much a litmus test to go off of, but the numbers weren't that great. Only pitched 10.2 innings and posted an ERA of 5.91 there, so not much really impressive for the 27-year-old, but again, this might be little things that Cashman sees him that you think, hey, if we get him here, maybe we could turn him around and be something. He's someone that, again, he's going to compete for a job. He probably someone that doesn't make the team there, but again, you see the Yankees kind of building up this roster as we go along, going into 2024. So the Yankees made a trade which kind of related to the Ohtani deal. Now, of course, the Dodgers, they brought in Ohtani but signed reliever Joe Kelly. So they needed to move 2 players off their roster so they could put those 2 players on their 40-man roster. So ring called Cashman. And it's kind of interesting. The Yankees and Dodgers have been doing some business lately. Of course, they traded Joey Gallo out there more than a year ago and got Clayton Beeter back. So, Yankees, Dodgers doing a little business there. Well, it did further business. Now, the Yankees parted way with shortstop prospect Trey Sweeney. Now, in return, they get 2 prospects, or 1 major league player and 1 prospect back from the Dodgers. Now, that'll be left-handed pitcher Victor Gonzalez. Now, he could be a possible candidate if the Yankees aren't able to re-sign Wandy Peralta. Some indications the Yankees would like to. I think it would be a good move for the Yankees to re-sign Wandy Peralta. But if not, this could be possibly someone that could replace him. Now, his numbers aren't as impressive and as good as Peralta, but, nevertheless, could grow into something. So his record was, last year 3-3. ERA you're not too happy with, 4.01. You don't want your relievers touching 4 in an ERA there. But again, maybe something you can improve on. But you do like, in 33.2 innings, he had 30 strikeouts, so he's almost averaging an inning per strikeout. So, okay, it could be something there. We don't know. But again, the Yankees kind of just, adding some prospect back after unloading a bunch, in these deals to get both Soto and Verdugo there. And they also get infield second baseman there, Yorbit Vivas. Now, he's actually impressive because these are numbers he put up in both AA and AAA. Like, if someone puts up great numbers in single A, well, he's figuring that the competition is good, and maybe you could be, if you're just a little good, maybe you could be great there, so it's not a really good litmus test. But if you're hitting well in AA and AAA, that's a little bit better, and his numbers are pretty good there. So for the 22-year-old, batting .269 with 13 home runs, 63 RBIs, so that's pretty decent offensive numbers there. And his walks and strikeouts about the same, so 69 walks to 71 strikeouts, and that's a 506 at-bats there. So bring us some talent, and that's just, again, that's really more helping out the Dodgers, make some roster space for Ohtani and Joe Kelly. So let's get into the Ohtani contract. So I'm sure you heard the number before, $700 million, which is crazy. It's like the biggest sports contract in the history of sports. There was some soccer player got like $623 million, so this eclipses that. Now, the money is not all what you think it is. He's not getting the whole $700 million up front like normally. You think maybe that'd be like $70 million per year. This is going to be a deferred contract, so he's actually getting only $2 million per year for 10 years, which you're like, wait a second, that's kind of crazy there. And then he's going to get the remaining $680 million on the back end once it's over. Which, you see a lot of that with a lot of these sports contracts, the way they're being structured. Again, some of the money's insane. You figure, not everyone's going to have, be able to put up the money like that. And of course, what this does for the Dodgers, it allows them to stay under the luxury tax there. So it's actually helping the Dodgers out there. But again, he gets all that money on the back end again. And it's nothing new. I mean, even the Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla from back in the 90s there. So this is just a lot more, it's the same concept, but just for a lot more bigger bucks. Now, you might think, well, Ohtani, well, look, he's like second best player in baseball. He's only going to accept $2 million. You understand, this guy's like Elvis, He gets advertising money all over the place, not only here, but in Japan. So, he probably gets $10 million here, $20 million here, $30 million here, $50 million here. So, sure, would he like the whole $700 million? Sure, but he gets a ton of money from all other places, and he's going to continue to get money from all other places. So, he doesn't exactly need the money. And if you could put a deal like this together where you promise him all that money on the back end, again, these are guaranteed contracts. So even if he plays 2 years and like breaks his leg and whatever, loses a leg and never plays again, he's still going to get all that money there. So, why not for him? So it's a good deal, and it's a good deal for the Dodgers. It frees up space. Now, how this relates to the Yankees as they pursue Yamamoto, which we'll get into shortly. Well, you've heard some rumors that Yamamoto wants to go to a team that has at least 1 or 2 other Japanese players, which you can understand as a buddy to talk to, someone to relate to, and kind of as he transitions from Japanese baseball over to American baseball. Now, I originally didn't put too much stock in that. I always think it's about the money and the contract and the biggest bucks. But now you can see what's going on here. I mean, you got a situation where the Dodgers aren't really unloading so much money. If you're only paying Ohtani $2 million, well, you could now approach Yamamoto, either offer him something similar, or if you just want to give him a regular contract. Again, you're not breaking the bank for Ohtani right now because you're giving that money 10 years from now. Right now, you got more money to play with. They can now offer a max deal with Yamamoto, give him a big money contract, or engineer something similar. Hey, we'll only pay you $5 million, and on the back end, we'll give you another $150 million with that. But now it gives them a situation where Yamamoto and Ohtani could come together, and you could have like this rock star, Los Angeles Dodgers team there, which it kind of makes sense. And I think it makes really a hard pitch for the Yankees to beat that pitch because, we know what the Dodgers are. I mean, they spent a lot of money lately. They've been more the Yankees have been. And if you just look at, we always kind of knew that Ohtani was going to go to a West Coast team and it was probably going to be the Dodgers. That was kind of a no-brainer there. You just look, naturally because, just goes to proximity to Japan. The Giants are very popular in Japan. The Dodgers are very popular in Japan. And even Seattle Mariners just go from the old Ichiro years. Now, Seattle really doesn't, spend that much money, so I didn't think Seattle would ever be serious, but you figure it was either going to be the Dodgers or the Giants, and it turned out to be the Dodgers, and it just all made sense. Everything was kind of gravitating towards that, and I'm sure Ohtani liked to be in Los Angeles, but the only problem is he was playing for the Angels, and he probably didn't realize how terrible they're going to be every year. And it's like, hey, I'm in the prime of my career, I'm the first or second biggest star in the game here, and I want to be in the postseason, I want to be showcased more, and for him to have all his talents used for the Los Angeles Angels, kind of a waste there. So he liked the area, he liked the climate, he just needs to switch teams there. So now he goes down the turnpike there, or the highway, whatever we got there, the 102 or whatever, and now we'll join the Dodgers there. Now I'm going to go back a little bit. I know you heard some rumors that possibly he might be entertaining going to Toronto. I never put much stock in that. I know there was supposedly some high-level meetings, and a Japanese pitcher up there, Kikuchi, rented out a whole restaurant. They're supposed to have this whole big meeting there, and they hear talks that they're refurbishing the Rogers Center. They're adding all these bells and whistles, and they want a big draw to bring the crowd in there. And, of course, Ohtani would do that. But Ohtani to Toronto, it just didn't look good. It didn't feel good. It just didn't make any sense there. I mean, he's someone, he's going to be, he's probably looking to be on the West Coast, not all the way up, northeast Canada, further away from Japan as possible. Plus, it's Canada, it's cold, even the dome there. It's not as dank and depressing as the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays, they could win like 120 games and still no one show up to the stadium there. At least Toronto fans, when the team is good, they do show up. Remember the early 90s and even a couple of seasons ago when Toronto's decent, they were getting some good crowds there. But, that place is always half empty. And it's like, again, it'll be just a waste of his talents. Toronto's like barely in the playoffs, maybe once every 4 or 5 years, if that. It doesn't make sense. It would be a situation where if he would have signed with Toronto, like 3 years later, he would have been traded somewhere else there. So I never put much stock in the Ohtani to Toronto rumors there. It did just seem it was going to be on the West Coast. And I figured it'd either be the Giants, just because they've been really dormant lately. Again, they were willing to almost pony up $400 million to bring in Aaron Judge. So, given the situation, they would spend the money. So I thought he would just kind of go to the Giants, and then maybe the Giants, because they've been kind of quiet lately, they'd want to make a big splash. And you could see Ohtani in that ballpark would be great. He'd be hitting home runs in the water there, and all the boats would have to go pick up the home run ball, like the old Barry Bonds days. I figured it was going to go there, but even the Dodgers also made sense, just because it's the Dodgers, it's a big team, it's Hollywood. And this, now they get to say, hey, look, we got Ohtani here, you got all the celebrities in the crowd, and like the Dodgers, a Dodger game is going to be the place to be there. So now the Yankees, obviously, now as they pursue Yamamoto, they're going to have to find a way to bring a better pitch than that. Because, again, right now, Ohtani and Hollywood there, that's as big as it gets there. So we'll have to see what Brian Cashman has up his sleeve. So the Yankees got the first big, piece that they wanted, Juan Soto, and now, of course, it's going to be the second big piece they want to go to is pitcher Yamamoto, who has been discussing that throughout the whole episode here. Of course, he's the big, you would say the free agency prize, and it seemed like the Yankees were even more focused on getting Yamamoto than even Juan Soto. Juan Soto's kind of like, oh, okay, we'll just get this done there. So they seem really drilled down to get Yamamoto. So I think if it comes down to money, I don't think the Yankees have no problem ponying up. And, I know for people complaining about Hal Steinbrenner being cheap lately, when the Yankees really want someone and they want to break the bank, they'll do it. We see it with Garrett Cole. They just went the extra mile for Garrett Cole. And again, when Aaron Judge looked like he was slipping away to the Giants or possibly even the Padres, again, Hal came in last minute there and put up the money just to get Judge here for $360 million. So I don't think the Yankees are cheap. I just don't think they don't splurge on like kind of maybes or just little extras on they don't need that they used to do back maybe in the early 90s and 2000s with, George at the helm there. So I don't think the Yankees are cheap. So they're going to go after Yamamoto, and again, Cashman already went out there to Japan to see him pitch, and actually one of the games that Cashman went to, he threw a no-hitter there, so they really want to get this 25-year-old. Now, the Yankees also bringing in some help there, so they have actually added Matsui, Hideki Matsui, as a special advisor to sort of communicate with him and talk about the whole transition from Japanese baseball over here and how it is to become the Yankee, playing the Yankee organization. So that's going to be the Yankee selling point here to get Yamamoto. But there's going to be other teams bidding there. You even hear that former crosstown, current crosstown rival, the Mets. Steve Cohen, again, he has no problem spending the money as well. Again, they base that show Billions on him. So this is the guy, again, if it's come down to money, he has no problem with that. And we've seen him spend money with the Mets. You saw the money he threw at Verlander. Saw the money he threw at Matt Scherzer there. So, he's going to compete against it as well. So, that's what the Yankees have their work cut out for them. But this is another good reason why this Soto deal is good for the Yankees, because in terms of a selling point, you have to say, well, look at what we're doing here for 2024. We bought Juan Soto, one of the best players in the game. He's probably going to have a great season. We have Aaron Judge here. Again, maybe the first or second best player in the game currently. Whether you want to put him in front of Ohtani or behind, you can make that decision there. But nevertheless, and look, we have players like Garrett Cole, a pitcher on top of his game, just won the Cy Young Award here. We're going all in, and we want you to be a part of it there. So that's going to be the Cashman selling pitch there. And if it comes down to dollars and cents, I don't think the Yankees are going to hesitate. If they want this guy, they're going to go after him. It's just where's this guy going to be comfortable to play, and it kind of goes back to the Ohtani deal. If the Dodgers get involved there, I just don't know if the Yankees could beat that, because the Dodgers, again, they're a premier team. I mean, this is like the first time in 8 years neither the Dodgers nor the Houston Astros were in the World Series there. So those teams are always in the postseason. The Dodgers are a high-profile team. I want to say they've been more of a high-profile team than the Yankees in recent years, just because of the playoffs there. I think the only thing that the Yankees have been sellable and watchable in recent years has been Aaron Judge. But if you take Aaron Judge away from the Yankees, I mean, they really haven't been done. There's not really much there. There's not much attraction there. Everything's been out Hollywood with the Dodgers there. So I think the Yankees have the work cut out for them. Right now, if I had to guess, flip a coin, I'd say only 40% he comes to the Yankees, because I just think if the Dodgers get involved there and what they're doing now, how they restructured the Ohtani deal, and the fact they have Ohtani there, and the fact that it's on the West Coast and so close to Japan there, it just makes it so obvious that Yamamoto is going to end up as a Dodger. I just think the Yankees' only saving grace they have is that they can pitch. Look what we've done to the lineup. Look at the improvements we made. We brought in Juan Soto. We have Aaron Judge. Also a guy like Verdugo here. We have Garrett Cole. We have a pretty darn good bullpen, so you have to worry about, your games being blown like that. It could probably be frustrating coming here and have someone, like a Chapman blowing your game in the ninth inning there. So, these have a competent bullpen at it. So that could be the only selling point. And of course, you might have to overpay for them. So if the Dodgers are willing to spend $200 million, the Yankees are going to, if you want to woo them over here, you maybe have to go 225 or 250 there just to pull them from the Dodgers there. But if I'm Yamamoto, I put in his shoes and I got Ohtani there on the West Coast, that I'm probably gravitating towards that. So the Yankees have their work cut out for them. They got a shot there, but they're just going to have to probably overpay drastically to pull them away from the Dodgers. Now, can Yamamoto go to the Mets? That's possible there as well. And you hear other teams involved, such as the Giants and the Red Sox and the usuals there. And of course, the Red Sox have brought in some Japanese players, such as Dice K there, so they kind of work that angle in a little bit. But again, overall, if I had to pick somebody, probably ends up with the Dodgers, but I think the Yankees got a good shot.